Alright, I'm making my grandpa's famous chili. He went by Eddie with his restaurant. This is a fantastic chili. It is his recipe, so this is for my grandpa Muir. First, I am rendering down pork belly until the pork becomes crackling. So I'm going to render down this fat. I am still rendering down the pork belly to turn it into cracklings. I need that pork fat. Okay, we are still rendering the pork belly until we get this fat rendered off. Alright, now I'm going to take up the pork bites, what I call them, but pork belly. I'm going to take it out of the pan now. And here is the drippings that is left from the pork bites, the pork belly. So now we have that, and these you can eat or do whatever you want with them. I think they're delicious. So there's that. Now we are going to add the hamburger. So now we have the hamburger. This is about 3 pounds of hamburger cooking in the suet from the pork belly. And now we're going to add 1 whole garlic, which I'm going to use 1 tablespoon of garlic. And then, alright, and now after putting in the whole clove of garlic, I'm going to add 1/2 of, so 1.5 ounces of chili powder. Okay. And now I'm going to stir it. And I'm also going to add 1/2 of a teaspoon of salt. Salt to taste. You can always add more after it's done. It is hard to take away once you put it in. So I'm just going to do 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to stir this now. Now I'm just going to stir this up. And all that fat. Now, Grandma said on her recipe, Grandma's been gone for a long time, and this is her father, which is my great-grandfather's recipe. He owned Eddie's in Oklahoma, a restaurant. And so this is his recipe. And, you know, he was born in the 1900s. Now, I remember as a kid, his was a little bit redder, so I'm going to add more chili powder. So I'm going to go ahead and put this whole 3-ounce chili powder in here. And like I said, this is 3 pounds of meat. And I'm going to let this cook until it's done, and then we'll go to the next step, and I will show you the recipe, show you what the outcome was. So let's let it cook. Okay, and you're going to want to stir this frequently, so be sure and keep it stirred. So the recipe says to keep it stirred. Alright, now it is done cooking. You just let it cook till your hamburger's done. Slow cook it. I have mine on medium. Now what the recipe says, and I will show you exactly what this is supposed to do. And if you're thinking, oh my god, all that grease. Well, if you're ketovore, keto, or carnivore, you're going to love it. So what I'm going to do now is I'll just set that there. I'm going to take this off. I'm going to take a strainer. And I am going to pour it in here to catch all that fantastic grease. Alright, and I'm going to let that drain. Sorry. Right, I'm gonna let this drain off. Let me grab her recipe. Alright, that's pretty much drained off. I'm going to bring back the pot. I'm going to pour that back in there. Alright, now what I'm going to do is, see this grease that was left over from that? They would pour that up in a canning jar and put it in the refrigerator for the next batch. And with each batch, this gets better and better. So, let me set this to the side and I'll pull that in a mason jar and put it in the fridge. Here is Grandma's recipe. I love you, Grandma. I'm so glad I got your cookbook. Then to the next page. This is basically for a bigger batch, but this is my Grandpa Muir's recipe to his famous chili. But there's more. Okay, so now I've got this all ready. Now, my grandpa used, he showed me, I've watched him, my Grandpa Muir used a pipe that you would hook onto a hot water tank to exhaust. Well, you know, we don't have those around here. Well, I guess I could, but I don't know how safe that is nowadays. Back then it was. You got to remember, he was born in the 1900s. He'd pour it in that, and it would make circles. Then he would put that in the refrigerator overnight and let it get cold. And the fat would basically turn into a tube, and he could slice off what he wants. And that'll lead me up to the next video. But you could take this, throw some cheese on it, make you a sandwich. It's like a chili sloppy joe in my opinion. So now I'm going to pour it in here. Waste not, want not. Set this over here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, because I don't have a cylinder, I'm going to put that in here just like that. Kind of squish it together so there, because Grandpa packed his in that pipe so that there wouldn't, kind of like you would do a head cheese. You're going to want it to be, you're going to want to be able to cut it. Let me get a different thing. You're going to be able to want to cut it into sandwiches, or whenever you get to that point, you're going to want to be able to, you don't want any holes in your sandwich meat. And whenever you put this in the fridge, it's going to become a loaf. I need something a little bit better. This is too straight. Hold on, guys. See what else I got. Let's try it. You know what? Let's try his vintage, my grandma's vintage cup. Don't worry, guys. I'll clean them. Vintage cup for some vintage chili. I just don't want any air bubbles in there. Because whenever it comes together, I want it to be solid, you know. Alright, now let me see what else. open back up the cookbook, make sure I didn't forget any steps. Let it cook till done. When finished, drain off chili and refrigerate. And then when you're ready to make more chili, you take that oil, that chili oil that you got for making your chili, and you reuse it. And each time you reuse it, the better it's going to get. So what I'm going to do with this now is I'm going to put this in the fridge and let it chill. And once it congeals, then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so I couldn't wait to have some, so I went ahead and made another batch, and I will come back with the next video to show you what else my grandpa did. Like I said, he was born in 1900s. He lived through the Depression, and he was also a chef in his very own restaurant here in Oklahoma City. All right, so I'm going to add some cheese to this as well. And voila, I'm going to sit down and have this beautiful bowl of my Grandpa Muir, his chili. Thank you, Grandma, for keeping his recipe. And I will do a video part 2. When the other has got cool, I will show you what I'm going to do with that. So thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. I know it doesn't look like it tastes good with all that grease, but you drain off the grease. It is fantastic. It tastes so delicious. So thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Please stay tuned for the second video that shows you what else my grandpa did with this fantastic chili. Blessings to everyone. Love you all. Bye for now.